the key here is the way you section this. And I've sectioned this off so that this obviously is the longest part right here. The front's going to be the longest. It's going to come down to about right here, probably the tip of the nose. But what I did is I separated this because we're going to create, this is kind of where it's undercut right into here, but then it starts to get longer right into this part, and then works its way and blends itself into the back here. So back here is completely blended right into here. So this top part comes to about right here, and then it's layered to where this is longest. But again, this is shorter right in through here, but also it's a little bit longer. So it's really interesting haircut.
All right, so I'm starting off with a number 2 guard, and what I'm doing is I'm just kind of, you can see I'm holding the longer hair on top, and that's just a technique to really just be a little more efficient and to, to make it a little bit easier with the clippers. I always suggest when you're using clippers to do it on dry or at least damp hair, but you do not want the hair to be soaking wet when using clippers. It's just a lot easier. If you're doing like an undercut in the same guard, then it's okay. But what I'm doing here, as you can see, I'm pushing the comb into the blade. Now, these are older clippers of mine, like this is old school. But what I did is I really just wanted to create the disconnection. And now is where I'm starting the blend, right? So the back part of it is pretty much blended in. And that's what makes its haircut unique, is that it's disconnected throughout the sides and the top, but it's somehow towards the back here, it's blended. And this was a really, really big popular trend for quite some time because people wanted to have that connection throughout the back of the head. But the weight removal was really important throughout the side. So here I'm cutting everything to connect the back into the top. And you can see I'm cutting more vertically, working towards the face. This is a great way to make sure you're balanced and also see any sort of like uneven parts or longer parts, as you can see here. And I'm just connecting the guide. Going shorter to longer, like what I'm doing there and demonstrating, is you're going to always maintain the hair longer in the front. And you want to do that for these types of hairstyles, because if your hair is shorter in the front, it's just not going to lay right. And make sure when you get your hair cut like this, you tell the person cutting your hair that you want it longer in the front. Very important. So now what I'm doing, and here's the blending part in the back, right? Now I'm just cutting the corners off to make sure, and the length, to make sure it's not just super long and ridiculous. So you see I'm chopping off a good amount of length. And if your hair gets a little bit stringy, like the mannequin here, when you cut off those ends, it really just thickens everything up and makes the hair look so much more healthy. So if you're somebody who does not get your hair cut for like a year, and your hair looks like garbage on the ends, just get a haircut. So as you can see here, I'm creating more of a triangular shape where it's shorter to longer. And again, I'm doing this technique because I'm blending the back and I'm over directing just to kind of work it in through the sides. And there's that triangular shape, shorter to longer. Always, always, always keep the hair longer in the front, and it will come to like a triangle in the very, very front. That's when you know you've got that right shape, okay? And then what I like to do is just kind of go in, do any sort of scissor over comb, blending, just to make sure everything is all working together and in sync. And then you can go in, blow dry the hair. I would suggest like Power Cream or Success Paste, or any one of my products will be a great product.
Here's the final result, and this is definitely going to be a little more difficult if you do this yourself, but here's how I did it. So I used a 3 3/4 guard up to about right here. Now, as you can see here, it's completely disconnected up to about right here. Then I did some scissor over comb just to blend this in a little bit so it's has a little bit of a taper right in through here, going up into here where it's a little bit longer. But again, right in through here, it's completely disconnected. Then what I did is I used the buzzer up to about right here, as you can see, and then I did this by hand, and I blended all of this by hand to about right here. So everything is layered, as you can see, to this one point into the back, right in through here like this. All right, so right about here, it's about, an inch, then 1.5 inches, then 2 inches, 3 inches. So we're talking about, 3.5 to 4 inches. And then it goes to where it's about, I'd say about 5.5 or so, almost 6 inches into the front. So back here is a little more blended in, as you could see. And how I did that was I just went the buzzer down and through here, kind of like in a V, and then I brought everything to this one point and then blended it in right in through here. I did that on both sides, as you can see here. And the top is, let me just show you since we're here in the front, the top is about, I'd say, just to the top of the lip, but it'll spring up. As you can see, it's springing up like this to where it appears like it's about right here. But if you pull this all the way straight down, it's a lot longer. All right, so in the video, when he kind of shakes his head like this, as you can see, it kind of comes down to about right into here. But it is a lot longer. It's down to about the top lip. This is all slicked back. I used a pomade to style it for when he's got it, slicked back just like this in the movie, as you can see here. And here's what we got as far as the finished result. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this, and definitely I would suggest going to a salon to get this. Bring in a picture of Jake Gyllenhaal from the movie Prisoners if you want to get this done by a barber or stylist. I wouldn't suggest trying to explain this to them because it's a little more difficult.